networks to get on. Let's see. Hang on. All right. So we got a special show today. I'm excited because this is our first day of broadcasting in quite a few days, as everybody knows. It's been exciting. We had a very interesting show this morning, and we had a really cool show a while ago. And I saw this beautiful, beloved sister on the calendar, and I looked her up. And I was really interested in what she had to say because, first of all, I don't know her. It's always cool to get to know somebody. But she's a doctor of Chinese medicine, fertility, and IVF, which I don't know what that is. Global speaker, womb medicine teacher. That's the one that really hit me. Womb medicine teacher. So I thought, well, this is going to be cool because she's obviously going to be connected to the divine feminine energy, the creation energy, you know, being a womb medicine teacher. So welcome to the show, Tharshini, and thanks for coming in and sharing space with us and honoring us with your presence. It's good to have you here. And if you could tell me, if we could start with the womb medicine teacher and how did that all happen? I mean, how did you come into an interest for that and wanting to pursue that? I mean, how did that happen?
Yeah. Hello, everyone. It's so nice to be here. You know, the way I moved to connect with the womb was from my own trauma. Growing up as a Sri Lankan woman in a very strict family where women had no rights, there was a lot of control, there was a lot of violence, there was a lot of abuse, so sexually abused by my father at 7. So it created a lot of trauma within my heart, but within my womb space, where I was very disconnected to myself. And my journey path is medicine, where I learned things on a very scientific level, but also energy aspect. But I found there was still something missing. There was something still missing for people to fully wake up to the consciousness of humanity, of the cosmos. And so as I started journeying inside the womb and I was healing a lot of women through fertility, IVF is just, is really using science to help women fall pregnant. And I was seeing that women were holding so much trauma in the womb, whether it be from sexual abuse, from violence, from, relationships where you weren't honored or respected. And I found that the womb remembered everything, not just from from all lifetimes, from all timelines. The cells of the body would remember the memories of, maybe your husband went to war in a past timeline and you had 6 children and he never came. And so on a soul level, you promised yourself that you never wanted to have children again because it was so traumatic. And that memory and that encoding of that thought was still sitting inside the womb. And so I thought this was really I was journeying at. But what happened was it took me into an area where I never thought it was even imaginable or possible, because I ended up having so many spiritual awakenings through my own womb, through my own journey. And what that, even though the womb was its own physical structure of the uterus, underneath that, behind that, was actually the creatrix web of life. It was our connections to the cosmic mother. It was our connection to all Stargate systems, our ancestors. It also allowed me to get in tune with the Earth's womb, Mother Gaia's womb, and how her pulse would pulsate through our own womb. So as women were waking up, as I was connecting to the womb consciousness that was residing within them, it was waking up the Earth. We were literally being able to tune into every single of every woman. It was literally waking up consciousness, because the source of creation was actually within a woman's womb, because every child had been birthed from the womb.
Exactly. Would you say that God, I had it in regard to these women? Well, no, I know what I was going to ask you. Would you say that the most powerful thing, based on what you just told me, I'm going to say is the most powerful thing in this world today, in this emerging of the physical and non-physical, a woman who's healing her womb.
100%. 100%. Everything that we're talking about right now around, upgrades, we're moving into a higher dimension of consciousness and all of this, it all begins in the womb. It really does. And as we remember the origin of the source of creation, it literally allows us to feel, because a lot of us, as we're going through these upgrades, we're not feeling stable, we're not feeling grounded, we're feeling erratic. Our heart, our emotions, our anxiety, our depression, all of these things are coming up to the surface because we're going through upgrades. But when we connect to the womb, what for us, it allows us to center and hold the heart. It allows us to feel safe. It allows us to feel secure. And we actually wake up the divine mother that's within us. So we feel home again. And it has its own voice, separate from the mind. I feel it is where a woman's intuition is.
Uh-oh, she got popped off. This is going to be interesting. I got a couple of questions. One is, how does a man reach that? And can you tie it into, let me ask her right now. So I had a couple of questions. That's okay. It's cool.
Yeah.
So I totally get what you're saying. I totally resonate with it. I totally align with it from my limited experience or whatever. But one is, how can a male incarnate, get in touch with his womb, or the womb frequency, or the mother energy? And I forget what the second one was. Oh, and is there a relation to the reality of the womb consciousness, the power that you're speaking of? Is there a relationship to sacred sexuality?
Yes. Yeah, very much so. Now, for a man, one of the things that they can do is really connect to Mother Earth. Okay, so Mother Gaia holds that same vibration as every womb has been birthed. And practices where you're really lying on the grass, lying on the trees, and connecting and breathing into the crystalline grid is a really good way to feel the pulse of Mother Earth moving through you. But what you can also do is connect to your own mother, because when you were inside the womb of your own mother, you were being imprinted with all of these genetic imprints from her emotions, from her timelines, and from your ancestors, from your own motherline. That was all. And when you were born as a man, when you were coming out of the womb, you were covered in menstrual blood. Now, the menstrual blood holds its own intelligence. And in the old tribal days, men would actually rest when they had their periods, because women back then didn't have pads, they didn't have tampons, and they would allow the blood to pour down their legs into the earth. And when that happened, it would create a where the men would smell the scent of blood, and they would journey deep with the women into their deep subconscious, allowing to go into a dream state to see what they needed to heal, to see what they needed to move through. And they could do that just through light. So what I would encourage a man, if you do have a partner, is that next time she has her period, really slow down with her. But do that on day 3. Because in the beginning, a woman will be very sensitive, are very heightened, and she's more connected to the cosmos than any other time during her bleed, because the veil between the conscious and subconscious becomes thin. So when a man sits with a woman on day 3 of her, she's the most vulnerable than any other time. So even sacred sex during the time of her blood on day 3 allows you to move beyond the uterus. It allows you to go into the cosmic mother, journey together. And sacred sexuality is a big thing now, because these children, these souls of these babies, because I see them when I work with them, when they're communicating with, they're coming in to do big things. They don't want to be born with trauma. They don't want to be born with all of these imprints from all of our ancestors. They want to be fully awake. And so what's happening is that a lot of women, their energetic field, their frequency is not high enough. And we're attracting relationships that are not serving our highest good. So sacred union, twin flame relationships where you are truly honored, respected, loved, where you can really be so potent and important now more than ever. Because when this energy merges in this way, it opens the womb to a whole nother experience. And what you journey, what you see is all yours. And you can heal it instantly, straight away. Everything, all these imprints can form so fast. And I've seen this for myself. I've seen this as I've gone through my own womb in sacred union, how it can transform all of my belief systems quickly. And that's what we're seeking right now.
So now, did you go through sacred union within yourself with only yourself or with a partner?
I did it with a partner, and then I ended that relationship, and then I journeyed within my own womb on my own. And what I saw was the ability to contract and expand, because when you're being intimate with someone, you will always get to an area where the womb will stop, right? It can only go so far. But when you actually are in a sacred union and that opens up, it's almost like an energy that takes you through the spirals of the womb. And here you'll be met by, elders almost. I saw it. This beautiful woman who was very elderly, and she sat in front of me saying, "We have been waiting for you." And as that happened, it actually stopped after that. I saw the actual, and I was so taken back from it that if I wasn't fully present, it disappeared. So I decided to journey after that without him. And when I did that, my womb started to contract, literally like I was giving a baby. And I was screaming, and I was literally fear, sadness, grief was coming out of me as I was birthing a new creation. I was birthing something new, and I felt that in this moment. And as I did that, I was met with beautiful goddesses, Isis. Isis stood in front of me. The energy of Kali stood in front of me, saying to me that it is time now to destroy everything within you. And within that, I saw all the room where I was holding on to, where even though I was Sri Lankan, I saw a timeline in Africa where I saw all of the women being raped and abused. And I saw myself in that timeline yelling at the men, "Why did you do this to the women?" And then the womb opened, and as these deities took me through, they showed me compassion, non-judgment, that the womb energy was not about judging. It was about forgiveness. It was about knowing that
Yes. I'm glad you didn't hear me. Forgiving that the men were not awake. Okay. What I was going to ask you was, in your personal experience, like, do you still uncover unconscious programs of resentment towards men?
Yes. Oh, almost in every woman. Almost in every woman. And even the mothers. So because the men were birthed from her, their own mother is holding this sort of resentment too. So it's been programmed into our men without them even realizing. So it's not their fault. It's just that when women wake up, what ends up happening is that they heal like the men. The men wake up because the womb becomes the source of
I'm living it. Talking to you is like, the way these 3 shows have been today, but this is what I'm feeling, like what you're talking about. I was talking to Morgan about it yesterday. Of course, she's been downloading this stuff for years, but I'm starting to get it, I guess. The man's coming online, and I don't even know how to talk about it. You obviously are very well versed in it, and I can speak from my experience. I don't know where this thing's going, but I know one thing. It's the most powerful force there is. It's pure creation in the flesh. And that's not even taken into account the energetic imprints that it sends out, because to me, those have been phenomenal. So I can't even imagine what in our physical experience, this type of consciousness or awareness or energy or power expanding, what it could do to this world, what it could mean to this world. I mean, it could literally change overnight. Boom.
Yes.
Wow, this is really good stuff. Really is. Do you? I mean, you've been doing this a while. I'm just curious. Do you see more people talking about sacred sexuality as time goes on, or do you see information about sacred sexuality coming out that's just new because it's a new higher level of sacred sexuality? I mean, do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. Look, I think in my field, being a doctor and treating thousands of patients, I don't see often. I don't see these sacred unions. And it's actually really sad because these babies need to come through with that. But what I do find is that when women are working with me or men are working with me, even though they go through the process of things like fertility, they break up. So as soon as they wake up, they realize that these relationships are not where they're supposed to be. But the information that's coming through for me now is bringing through all of the ancient with the new timelines. So a lot of what I'm downloading is a lot around the new 5D Tantra. So teaching Tantra, it's not about sex, it's about life force.
Right.
It's about life,
Right.
it's about love. We bring this in a way where the physical body will also understand. And so what I've done is brought in the elements of Chinese medicine with it to teach couples how to move through the channel pathways of the physical way, so that we change the picture of the physical organ systems and the mind, and then bring through the energy aspect as well to wake up. Because when you teach couples true intimacy, true connection, to do with sex, it's to do with
Absolutely.
breath, it's to do with energy. How do we see in another, right? And that's not being spoken about enough. And what a woman can do in sacred union is that she can embody all of the elements. She can embody fire. She can embody passion through her heart. And she can emanate that to her partner where he feels that and wakes up the Kundalini. We can do this. We can embody water. And so how do we do that? How do we teach? And so this is what I'm going through with couples, bringing this, because women will be able to look at their partner and know where the restriction is in their energetic frequency and dissolve it through their own heart frequency, through the activation of their yoni, bringing it up high and projecting it out into the world. And this
Physical,
is
it's physical. It's physical.
It's physical.
Harioscamos, physical harioscamos. And on that note, so that what you're describing in the tantric that I'm familiar with, which I'm not that familiar with, you start at the physical. Morgan's the one that told me this. You start at the physical and you go up and you go to the energetic field, I guess is the way to put it. And like, because of what she downloaded and because of the circumstances, because we didn't see each other for about a year and a half after we'd met. She was in Australia. We merged. We did Harioscamos on a consistent basis in the ether. So obviously there was no physical contact, and she wouldn't send any kind of pictures, not even of her face. So it was all very energetic in the non-physical. So I guess you can go that path too, I guess, right?
Oh, 100%. I've with my twin flame now on that level, not on the physical level, for the last 6 months. And he's been also guiding me through the womb temple, the womb power, how to squat into the earth and feel the earth, and show me all the codes, all of the symbols that are activated within the clitoris, within the cervical wall, within the uterus, and code that and activate the women on an energetic frequency. So it's been amazing, because I've been able to go even deeper into my womb energy on that level, connecting to my twin flame on that ethereal state.
Wow.
So it's been really quite, it's been magic.
Wow. And so, so you're a practicing doctor. Is it the Chinese medicine? Is that what you do? Are you like a GP or what?
No, so I'm a Chinese medicine doctor. I've been in this field for I've been studying for 5 years, but I've been an actual doctor for 5 years. So I've been in the field for 10 years, and being in this field, it's been such an eye-opening experience, because my speciality actually gynecological issues that women experience, so problems in the uterus, period issues, endometriosis, PCOS, fertility issues for couples, and also, a lot of this trauma that's happening in the uterus is all to do with the imprints that we've been carrying from our ancestors. It's repressed anger, the anger that women have towards men, towards relationships, to being mistreated. Men are coming up with sperm issues, sperms by 50% in the last 18 years. So men are becoming sterile. Their
Jesus
sperm quality
Christ.
is decreasing all around the world. This is a massive problem, and it's not spoken about.
God, that's a lot of information again. Well, I had a great question too. you threw me off with the sperm count going down 50%. I'm thinking, do you have a supplement you can recommend? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah,
Wow.
there's heaps. I mean,
Oh, I know what I was going to ask. So, okay, so this is cool. All right. So, like, I know Chinese medicine. I remember watching 60 Minutes, like, when I was 25. It was very impressive. It was about Chinese medicine and qi. And then my wife's a practitioner, and I know other practitioners that are, I would say, energy practitioners, and they have different methods of healing the energy body. I guess you could put it that way. But some of those situations would be someone that does have a physical manifestation of all that stuff that you're talking about. So my question is, how do you treat somebody? How do you treat a woman who has that type of issue that has physically manifested? And does any part of your treatment have to do with energetic, like say using the imagination, meditation, that type of thing? And if not, do you think that stuff works as well?
Oh, definitely. So I speak up to 10 different light languages. So I incorporate that into my practice all the time. But what I find is with Chinese medicine, which is really powerful, is at the end of the day, we all want touch. We all want that physical experience in some way when we're talking about it. So when we do these channel pathways, what I love about it is that when I look at your pulse, look at your tongue, and I know what's going on with your internal organs. I know how you're expressing your emotions and what organs are being impacted as a result. And when we do acupuncture, it's almost like we create a prescription of acupuncture points to work together, to work on the stomach channel pathways or the liver channel pathways where you might be holding resentment, anger, restriction. And what it does is once we open up the meridian channel ways to rebalance automatically, and then I do my light language activations, my DNA activations, it vibrates all of the needles. It moves everyone into a much higher consciousness straight away. Even those who are not open to spiritual experienced energy. When I'm activated with the acupuncture, I find it works to such an increased state. And when I do this work, I channel up to 10 different light languages where I actually perform psychic on the body part. So I see inside, I actually see inside the cells. I can see inside the uterus. I can see inside the area that's, in that way.
So some of these people, well, not every single person that comes to the door is a starseed in a starseed community or been exposed to light language. So you've got probably the majority of people come in for your Chinese medicine treatment, and you start firing light language. That's probably pretty interesting. Do you see a lot of people light up, and do you ever hear people start to do it themselves?
Yeah, I've had patients do it when I've activated them, and their throats have started, jolting and trying to create sound like a little. Let it go, let it happen, let it happen. They're like, this is Tash, you know, and I'm like, do it. But most of the time, yeah, people are not open. But what I find is that it's all about speaking about energy and spirituality in a logical way so that everyone can understand. That's been my thing from day one. And because I do Chinese medicine, I have a very good understanding of science because I combine that together in my treatments. When I get to the part where I tell them my story, I tell them how I was activated, and it's pretty crazy. You know, I was meditating for 5 minutes and all of a sudden I started channeling. But when I speak about it, I say to people that the light language sound, it's a frequency, right? Like when we listen to music, when we hear people's certain words, positive words, it creates an impact on our physical body. And light language is just a language from different dimensions of the universe that carries a certain frequency within your own body. So sometimes you'll hear me speak in this sort of Chinese, Japanese language that can be quite aggressive, whereas that's when I'm clearing out demonic things out of the body. Or
that's your Kali energy.
Or implant.
That's your Kali energy.
It's Kali, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Wow, this is really.
Where it's very angelic. I frequency.
Oh yeah.
You know, and then I also do Sanskrit. So, you know, the ancient knowledge of Sanskrit. And I remember I was a priest back in those timelines. I'm doing that, and I'm teaching those types of mantras and that information. It's literally opening up the keys. And I say to patients, I have the key to open up the dimension of your body, but then you become the healer. It's just activating those codes to allow your life to function to highest potential, you know, to wake up the DNA to its full potential. And as soon as you do that, people heal spontaneously. Like I used to wear glasses, and within 3 months of me channeling with, you know, I treated over 1,000 patients, and I healed my eyesight, literally. I wore glasses and my eyesight healed.
Did you consciously try to do that, or did it just occur as you raised your frequency?
Yeah, everything happened so fast because I already work in a very busy clinic, but I was very fortunate that as soon as I was activated, I could practice. You know, I did it straight away. And what I found was every time I would be channeling, I would close my eyes and take my glasses off. And I thought, oh, that's weird. I wonder if it was blocking my third eye. And every time I did that, my vision was so clear. And then I started seeing the neural pathways really starting to heal. And one day when I was mucking around with one of the patients, I closed my eyes and I thought, oh my goodness, I can see. What is going on here? And then, the rest was history. And it was showing me how incredible our body was healing, no matter what age, that it could heal, that you could live a happy, joyful life with good health, phenomenal health.
Yeah, I think there's been a lot of people have healing occur, self-healing occur. You know, it's been more frequent, you know, more abundant. Maybe not I know some people that's happening in just, like you said, overnight, right? And then like in my own case and other people I know, it's been taking a little more time. You know, like I had a chronic back affliction for 12 years and I had a lot of atrophy in my muscles and everything came back, right? So, I mean, I think that's definitely happening. The other thing that you said too, about seeing it like in the cells. So we had this thing a couple of weeks ago when we connect at night and our light bodies presented themselves and said, would you like to merge? Right. And what happened was for me, as it came in, as we merged, I could immediately see that there was no distortion at all, that everything went to this kind of a purified field. There was no affliction, no nothing. It was instantaneous. And, you know, obviously that was our way of experiencing something Morgan pulled down, which was energy available, or consciousness, you know, expanded enough that it's, you know, we're becoming aware of it, however you want to put it. But yeah, to me, this is exciting because when you start to see people defying medical science and transforming in physical manifestation of what we would call healing, there's no way to hide that. I mean, you can't keep that quiet, you know. Fascinating.
And it's
So how do you go?
Yeah, it's a great.
Go ahead.
You know, it's not accepted. You know, a lot of people are jealous of what I'm doing, angry at what I'm doing, because I'm claiming things that is not supposed to be claimed. And as a Chinese medicine doctor, we're not allowed to write any testimonials on our websites. It's very strict. And what we're trying to teach is beyond this structure of what society is trying to tell us. And I'm really one of the first ones to do this in my industry and to push past those barriers, which is really, really difficult.
Yeah.
At the same time, it needs to be spoken about more. And I think as our workers start stepping in more people are waking up more easily. You know, I'm finding patients waking up really fast, these types of light activations on them, where they're seeing beyond. They're seeing their third eye open up straight away, and they're saying to me, wow, this is amazing. And then teaching them, you know, we've really got to teach these people that we're supporting physical level frequency in their body. And this was this was pushed by my own guides, really, to teach the proper teachings. Because what's happening in the world right now is even things like meditation, yoga, all of these things have been diluted around the world, and we're looking at as, you know, exercise and, you know, calming the mind, but we're not actually understanding our own human body. We're not understanding this mechanism. We're not understanding that this body is superhuman. So how do we access that? And teaching patients and people that,
Oh, so as an example, not to bring up the the example, but it's there. COVID, what they call COVID-19, and I'm not talking about what caused it and all that. What I'm asking you is a doctor who understands consciousness and understands what we're awakening to, in terms of effect on an individual. What is the effect, if any, you know, of even the suggestion of there's a virus, you know, whether there's a physical, you know what I mean? Like, how much of what we believe is, you know, how is that more powerful than the actual biological threat? I guess is another way to put it.
Yeah, 100% it is. You know, I'm saying this daily with patients, and what's happening is, from a Chinese medicine philosophy, emotions affect different organ systems. And so with COVID, what happens a lot of the time is that, first of all, we go into fear. We go into sadness because people are also losing their jobs, so they're in grief. They're in anger as well, and they've got anxiety. So the four organ systems that get really impacted by this is the liver. The liver holds a lot of our anger, our resentment, our frustration. Our liver also detoxifies our body and our toxins out of our system. So on top of that, if we're not eating well, if we're being grief, then the liver's already over. A lot of us are drinking alcohol, so again, it's putting more impact on the liver. And also, from a Chinese medicine perspective, our hun, our soul, is also within the liver system. It's all to do with our purpose. It's our source of decision making, our planning, moving forward in our life, having the courage to follow through with that. That's all residing in the liver. So again, that's going to physically affect that organ in that way. And then we've got the lungs. You know, the immune system is connected to sadness, grief, loss. So if you're feeling that, that's going to wipe out your immune system anyway. That's why we feel tired when we cry. We feel exhausted. So again, that emotional alone can affect it. Fear we're experiencing. And fear attacks the kidneys. It attacks our life force. It's where our kundalini resides. It's our jing. It's our essence. It was what was given to us at birth from our parents. And this beautiful part of us also decreases force energy as we get older. That's why we get graying of the hair. That's where we get brittle bones. That's why we get sleepless nights.
No, I got you. I'm sorry.
Menopause and all.
Yeah.
So we want that. We don't want to be feeling that.
Yeah. This is great information. And I was just wondering too, because you've been doing this 10 years. Have you, as a doctor, have you seen evidence from your perspective, that there's been evidence of a transformation from carbon-based body to crystalline light body?
I think it's happening. It's definitely happening, and I'm seeing it in certain people, definitely. But we're still going through a massive transition. I think we'll definitely get there because it's now, but we still have it's still time. I think time, and I think this year I feel it's going to be a massive year for humanity. I feel there's a massive shift happening. I can see it through Mother Earth as well.
Yeah.
I think Mother Earth wants it to all of you as well to move into this crystalline, light body, is that for you to remember to sit in darkness. This is what her message was to me. And it is the same thing as the womb. When we come into this world, we darkness for 9 months of our lives. And a lot of us get quite scared to turn off all the lights in our house and just sit in pure darkness. But I encourage you to do this, because when you do that, when you sit in others, your fears will start to come up. Shadow will start to come up. The unknown will start to come up. But it's from this darkness that your light will start to pulsate at the highest frequency. So it is the same thing that happens within the soil of the earth. The soil of the earth is sat in this same darkness. So the more you can, really collaborate with this energy of darkness, it will really transform you, because all of my awakenings have come from darkness.
I like this.
So
I like that.
Nothing to fear, because nothing.
I like that. Yeah. This lag is bad. I'm sorry. Your lips are moving and I thought it was the voice, then the movement of the lips, but it was backwards. You started moving, and then 3 seconds later, your voice starts.
No.
I was gonna ask you something before I had to explain that. I was gonna say that's a really great exercise. I'm not a traditional, light worker or whatever. I don't really, do a lot of the things people do. But to me, that sounds like a really good thing. And I guess one reason is because that's what we do. Our windows are blacked out and our room is pitch black, and we connect. That's how we've connected, as long as we've been together, and especially here for the last few months. But yeah, you're right. It's such a incredible thing to be in darkness and go from what you're looking for to realizing, well, it's all me. What do I want to do tonight? But you don't just get there without any issues. You might see some dragons, some ET family walk in. We've had different things happen, but really it's been me all the time. It's been us all the time. It's been you all the time. That's a lot to swallow for a human, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a beautiful point that you spoke about the dragons as well. Based on that, what I've seen through the body is that within every single woman's womb is a dragon. Same with the hara of man, which is the stomach area. And when you connect in love, or just in connection, your dragons will actually come out of the body and start to communicate with each other. And if there's trauma from past,
we had that happen.
They will they will start to repel each other. It's really connect with your dragon. And also your serpent from does the same thing. Does the same thing. And they come out through the base of the spine and
yeah. Well, I'm sorry.
Coil around together. It's
okay. It just broke up really bad. I heard it, but it was stop and starting. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm laughing because, my wife and I have been on the sacred sexuality path for a long time, and I hadn't really thought about it till you and I were talking about this right now, and you brought up the dragons and where they were located, and the man and the woman, and then, having intimacy. Sacred Sexuality, and we saw a lot of dragons and they merged with us, and we saw twin dragons, and we saw all kinds of dragons. And actually she turned into a dragon. I had a dragon claw on my chest. But that's really cool. These things that are manifesting in people's realities, I mean, this is just the beginning, it seems like, you know, like you talk about, we have supernatural abilities, infinite abilities. I believe that totally. I'm totally aligned with you. But to imagine that these scenarios that you've had or we've had or others have had are going to start to be normal. And then what happens after that? How far does the manifestations go? I mean, are we going to be able to think something and it's actually physically manifested? I guess that's happening now. It's just a matter of how we look at linear time, right? Yeah, fascinating discussion.
I mean, I'm seeing that all the time with, you know, and another thing I wanted to touch base on as well is when we're talking about the black light, that a beautiful practice that you can do together in sacred union is that a woman can allow the man to cradle on her womb. So literally a man placing his head on your womb, and the woman to become the divine mother. So allowing a man to become completely vulnerable like a little boy. And as he enters the womb in that way, in love, it allows you to connect and plant the seeds that you want. So when you connect into the womb and go into the black light, which is the deepest part of the womb, a man can literally plant his seeds within your womb to germinate whatever he wants to create. And a woman can connect to it and see how long that seed is moving in the process. You know, this is a really beautiful practice that you can.
Uh-oh. You went mute. You went mute. Yeah, you went mute. I don't know what happened. I was going to say too that I can vouch for that too, because I do that. And I can't believe you actually said exactly what I do, including the seeding thing, right? Because I know you're muted, but I just got to tell you this because it's such validation and synchronicity. You're a beautiful, beloved, brave sister. And so, you know, thank you for coming in and honoring us with your presence and sharing all your information. But I just want to tell you what she's saying, and mostly to the guys. I'm just telling you, you know, you may think I'm, you know, macho man or whatever the case is, but I'm telling you, I'm that little boy. My favorite place, and it always has been, on Morgan's body, which is the universe, which is Mother Universe, is her womb. Is to lay my head on her womb, lay my hand on her womb, and express energy, you know. God, you're gonna make me cry. Well, we have to get together again. Like, okay, you know, I'm sorry the mute button went off, and I'll get with you on some tech, maybe some tech things I can help you with, and you know, thank you so much for bringing the day into alignment, because it's been crazy energies and everybody's been talking about it all day. But thank you so much. All blessings to you and yours, and peace out until the next time. See y'all tomorrow. We'll see.